Okay, guys, hottest Star Wars takes, go.
Rey is a clone, and there's gonna be an army of 1,000 Rey clones in the Rise of Skywalker.
The Emperor's back. How is he back? Well,
No.
Sith can't return his Force ghost, but they can
It's
put
gotta
their
be
spirits
faster.
into
Hot
objects.
take has to be
As
faster.
we see in the
Hot
second
take,
run of the
Brian.
Darth
Brian, it's
Vader
a
comic,
hot-
and through the
was
Mask of
nothing.
Lord moment, and we have
Artifact.
another mask because Yoda Baby
You
is
gotta-
Snoke.
It's got, there it is, very hot. This is SYFY WIRE's preview for The Rise of Skywalker. I'm Jackie Jennings, and I'm here with Caitlin Bush and Brian Stillman from Jabba the Pod. Okay, so we're gonna dive deeper than Boba Fett into the all-powerful Sarlacc, located within the Great Pit of Carkoon, of course, to get you ready for episode 9.
Yes.
And if you look at the description below, you can find out when we're talking about the topic you care most about, or my suggestion, stick around for all of it.
Because you care about all of it. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Okay, first things first, this is The Rise of Skywalker. So we've got to ask the question, what Skywalker is rising? What do we think the title means?
Ooh, so many theories to go through here.
Yeah.
So many.
so many.
Interesting thing to ponder in terms of which Skywalker. Rey and Finn, both major characters, still don't have last names.
Yeah.
I will say Finn doesn't have a last name just because that was what was given to him by Poe
Right.
after FN 217, which makes sense why he wouldn't, but Rey not having a last name.
Yeah.
Could she
Who's to
become
say?
could she adopt the mantle Rey Skywalker?
An honorary Skywalker.
Sure.
Could she even become Rey Organa?
Honestly, love it. Love the idea of Leia adopting Rey.
This leads us to the question, will Rey get an actual backstory, or is she really a nobody from nowhere who's gonna stay a nobody from nowhere?
I mean, I love the idea of her being a nobody from nowhere just because the Skywalkers have always been so important and they have a destiny and blah, blah, blah. And it's really fun to bring in a person who, in Kylo's words, doesn't matter.
You have no place in this story. You come from nothing. You're nothing.
That's interesting. I think the powerful thing about Rey in Last Jedi, that reveal, is that you don't have to have mighty blood or come from an incredible bloodline to be able to be so powerful in the Force. It can come from anywhere. That said, if she takes on the name Rey Organa Skywalker,
Cool.
would that be so bad?
And she is technically a Skywalker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As is a guy named Kylo Ren.
Oh,
Which
okay.
we gotta address the Kylo in the room.
Kylo, bloodlines. We gotta talk about it. I think a huge question that's out there. Damn, did not know that was there. So Ben Solo, I think a lot of fans, I'm speaking for myself, think, hope, believe that there's gonna be some kind of redemption arc for Ben
Right.
Solo / Kylo Ren.
I mean, Leia
Redemption.
says it herself in The Force Awakens, just like how Padme said about Anakin was her last word, was that he still has good in him. Leia tells Han that she still thinks there is good in Kylo.
There's good in him. There's still light in him. I know it.
One interesting thing with Kylo is he's technically a Solo, and as we learned from Solo, that literally the Empire is saying, you have no people, you're alone,
Yeah.
go screw yourself, which is is not really nice. It's so very Imperial.
Yeah.
It is
But
very
it's also,
Imperial.
could he be the Skywalker that reclaims his name as part of Bendemption, and he be the Skywalker that rises along with Rey and Finn, who could still be Force sensitive? All of them lead the charge, and then, like Anakin, he will redeem himself and then die because, I mean, you killed Han Solo, man.
After all of that, I feel like self-sacrifice is the way to go.
I'd like him to be redeemed, of course. I think redemption
Okay.
is possible for everybody, but I think it has to be in a sacrificial way. For him
Interesting.
to truly attain the mantle of Skywalker, the Skywalker way of sacrifice, like Darth Vader before.
I mean, he wants to be like Darth Vader.
All right, I mean, we nailed it. I think no matter what the movie says, we solved Ben Solo. So coming up, we're gonna get into Palpatine, Force Ghosts, and explain our hot takes even further.
The Force brought us together.
No, I mean, the trade blockade wasn't moral, but it was legal from a certain point of view.
But the morals and laws are never the same,
Well,
rarely.
But I mean, now we're getting into a
Oh.
whole different thing.
You went full Amidala for today?
No, not Amidala, Sabe. The handmaiden, her loyal bodyguard, her decoy.
It's the same makeup.
No,
though.
it is. Did you read
Sorry.
Queen Shadow?
Not
You didn't.
yet.
This is Sabe erasure once again.
All right.
Okay.
What?
Amidala's segment's been cut.
Sabe. The Sabe segment's been cut. We are brave, Your Highness. We are brave.
You know, my general grievous about Star Wars is that we were all tricked into thinking it's a story about a farm boy, a scoundrel, and a princess, when really the whole thing is about our buddy Palpatine. Let's take a walk through a timeline of the Palpatine story as told mostly in the Skywalker saga, starting from Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. He starts off as a senator from Naboo, but is also Darth Sidious. He gets elected Chancellor of the Republic and tells Anakin,
We will watch your career with great interest.
I will make it legal. Wipe them out. All of them.
chills. So, we learn in Darth Vader 25, he immaculately concepted Anakin Skywalker by manipulating the midichlorians inside of Shmi's womb. Cool, maybe. Ethical? No. Then in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, he continues to pretend to be a normal politician while actually being a Sith Lord. He manipulates everything through Count Dooku, while continuing to try to kill Padme, eventually sending Anakin to guard Padme, which obviously leads to their secret
The
love.
thought of losing you is unbearable.
Everything is going as planned.
2 in 1. And in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, all hell breaks loose. It's finally revealed he's been a double-crosser the whole time. He officially persuades Anakin to the dark side and creates Darth Vader, and Force lightning happens.
Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? It slaps. Use my knowledge, I beg you. I am the Senate. No. Weak. Too weak. Help me. Power! Unlimited power! Go kill those kids, Lord Vader, my little green friend. The First Galactic Empire for a safe, secure society.
And now we're up to Episode 4, A New Hope. He's only briefly mentioned. We focus mainly on his protege, Darth Vader.
Hey, Senate, you're basic, you're burnt.
Damn. In Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, Palpatine appears as a hologram and calls out Luke for being a threat. And Vader's like, don't worry, Luke will be chill if we flip him to the dark side. He will join us or die, master. See, I can do it too.
have a new enemy. He would make a great asset.
Then we're in Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Palps is there in person to help with the second Death Star. And here, he starts double-crossing Vader, because he tells Vader, yeah, totally, let's flip your son, Luke. But really, he wants to replace Vader with Darkseid Luke. You know there's more Force lightning. He tries to get Luke to kill Vader and succumb to the dark side. Luke refuses. Vader tries to defend his son and throws Palp in the reactor. Bye!
Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen. Take your father's place at my side. If you will not be turned, you will be destroyed. Now, young Skywalker, you will die.
And with that, we're into Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Rey touches Luke's lightsaber and Palpatine's voice can be heard. We don't know what it's saying, but that's kind of what you hear. It's like a door opening. And in episode 8, The Last Jedi, we briefly hear Darth Sidious mentioned when Luke is explaining the fall of the Jedi to Rey.
Damn right, Darth Sidious, wipe them out. Go me.
Oh,
Up top. Up top.
sure.
Yeah.
Which brings us to episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Palpatine's laugh can be heard, and we know Ian McDiarmid is involved. The final trailer shows the wreckage of the Emperor's throne room from the second Death Star. Palpatine appears, and Force Lightning!
Long have I waited, and now your coming together will be your undoing.
Brian, are you back?
Yeah.
Okay, stay. I think you have some special live footage for us to check in on,
Yeah,
right?
I sure do, Jackie. So, Matt Romano, one of our co-hosts on Jabba the Pod, is off watching Star Wars The Last Jedi on a loop. How many times, you might be asking? As many times as it takes for the messages to sink in. I have him holed up in a secure location watching only this until episode 9 comes out. Let's take a look.
Okay, so one aspect of Star Wars that we definitely have to talk about is Force Ghosts.
Yes.
'Cause, no, you guys, Force Ghosts, not four ghosts?
We've been over this.
Yeah, it's not a number thing. Oh, that was a bummer.
They mean well.
Do they, though?
We don't know, but we're assuming.
Okay.
All right, well, okay, so we've seen Force Ghosts a few times before, and we know we're gonna get Luke in episode 9.
Hopefully we're gonna get a lot of Luke.
Hopefully a lot of Luke. I mean,
A
he
lot of
does say in the trailer, we have taught you everything you need to know.
We've passed on all we know.
Who is we, and who is he teaching?
Plo Koon.
Possibly.
Plo Koon, Force Ghost. I want it.
So we know there are gonna be Force Ghosts, but how many Force Ghosts will there be?
There could be upwards of half a dozen.
I mean, Yoda's very likely.
Yoda seems
I really
very
hope so.
likely.
We're condensed, unfortunately, with which Jedi are able to do that. We know Anakin could do it. Will we see Hayden?
I hope so, because Hayden Christensen has been hanging out more and more at all of these
popping
Star
up.
Wars events. Some people say that doesn't mean anything. I personally believe it means that we're going to see Hayden Christensen as a Force Ghost, as Anakin in The Rise of Skywalker.
And do we think he's gonna interact with grandson Kylo at all?
Absolutely.
Shape
He did
up.
not completely destroy what he had been doing for like 20 years, only to have his grandson come in like an idiot and
Yeah.
completely misconstrue what he had meant by the end of his life.
Excuse me, son. You have ruined my legacy. Please stop.
Here's a wild thought. What about Qui-Gon Jinn?
That is an excellent thing. We know Qui-Gon Jinn is the way that Yoda found out how
Yes.
to manifest himself in the Force. Yoda then
Yes.
passed it off to Obi-Wan at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Yoda himself learned it from Qui-Gon towards the end of Clone Wars Season 6. And Qui-Gon couldn't completely complete the process, so he's kind of this glimmery Force dust, voiced by Liam Neeson, floating around, guiding Yoda around to do it.
So Rise
what-
of Skywalker, space dust, Liam Neeson.
I
Done.
want
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I want it.
Give me back my
I want
dust.
it. Give me that dust. Give me that dust. And Hayden could pop and be like, dust is okay, sand, no go. Still don't like it.
And then we
So
could get
I don't
that monologue again.
And I'll ask Kylo about his thoughts on sand.
And Plo Koon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting Force Ghosts. I think what's less clear is what role are they going to play in this film?
I mean, I got a couple of ideas that I would love to share. I think that Luke and maybe Yoda will come along. We'll see flashbacks of them training Rey along the way. Because from the trailers, it seems that she's really come into her own. This is years after The Last Jedi. She's had some training under her belt from the help of Force Ghosts. And then all I really want is Hayden Christensen's Anakin Force Ghost hanging around Kylo and like verbally abusing him and telling him, you really messed up. What is wrong with you? I did not sacrifice myself so that you could do this.
Yeah, just the mean, tough grandpa who's ultimately right.
Yeah, who is right?
Yeah.
It's guidance, general, not just guidance, but in metaphorically passing the baton. The 1,000 generations live in you now. So
Yeah.
we've done all we can. We've given you our knowledge.
It's your world now. It's your movie now.
Go forth.
No pressure.
So yeah, it's like, do not feel afraid. It's like, yeah, I'm still afraid. So it's now Rey, Finn, and Poe are the ones who can take the action. We've done all we can. We've helped. Hope it works out. We're gonna be over here in the Force Ghost bar.
I think that's what it has to be, guidance. If it's any kind of like Deus Ex Machina, like,
Yeah.
oh, I've got information, or I'm gonna like affect the plot. I don't know.
That's too much.
Which they were gonna go that way at the end of Return of the Jedi and have Force Ghost Yoda and Force Ghost Obi-Wan help Luke in the fight against the Emperor, and they didn't do that.
It had to be
keep it-
Luke's fight.
Because they,
Yeah, it
exactly.
has to be.
It would lessen it. So, and it would lessen the fight of this new generation.
Yeah.
If they Force Ghost Ex Machina in that way. I
Yeah.
mean, it's also the way I think Leia's going to function is in a way is passing on the baton, passing it on to Poe as the new leader of the
That's
Resistance.
one major Force Ghost that we didn't talk about. Obviously, Leia was never trained, but she's Force sensitive at least. Could we see a Force Ghost Leia, even if it's just like a Hayden Christensen at the end of the remastered Jedi, just kind of being like,
If she's going to pass
Because she's
on.
still around. If she is going to pass in this movie, then I like that idea. Hayden Christensen style. At the end,
Sort of
Anakin
a-
shows up.
That's like
I'm
the
doing this
dream
because I don't wanna
is-
touch my
is-
mic, but-
Is the at the very end, the last
family.
shot is the cast is like all celebrating their
family
victory, the new
photo.
cast,
Yep.
and then behind them
With Ewoks again.
all
Oh my
Ewoks come
God.
back just because.
Are they
and
all in
all of the
khakis?
Force Ghosts, and then right in the center, Leia appears.
can they all
and
be in
then it
khakis
just-
and white polo shirts?
Yeah, of course.
And then it's like on a beach in Nantucket and they send it out as the Christmas card?
Yeah,
we all got
I'm
those,
ju-
right?
I'm just gonna, yeah, sure.
We all think about that.
And then
right?
it just zooms in on Force Ghost Leia, and that's the very last thing we see, and then.
And her
smash
just
cut to
smiling.
credits.
Or overalls.
Or just an hour of just a picture of Carrie Fisher, and that's the end.
Yeah, you just want Leia to be comfortable.
Leia to be comfortable and happy.
Okay, so up next we go into the void of droids. It's a real thing. Ever since Star Wars started, droids have played a critical role in the universe. Yeah, starting with this guy, R2-D2 held Leia's famous message to Obi-Wan. C-3PO was built by Anakin and is always good for a little quip, a little comedic relief. And then we had BB-8, who immediately was a fan favorite, rolled his way right into our hearts.
Love him.
But how important are all our droid friends to the series?
I mean, undoubtedly C-3PO and R2-D2 have been the longest lasting and the most important. Also, in the trailer, we see C-3PO's eyes going red. And I wonder, is that them trying to program him or reprogram him to bring his memories back? Because he's seen everything that's happened. His memory has just been wiped multiple times.
Or are they red because he's
Yeah.
decoding, translating some kind of Sith artifact like a helmet?
That he's like,
You're really into
Evil
that.
Yeah.
You're really into that. I mean, I respect it, but I think it's more memories.
it could be, yeah. I mean, it seems that he's gonna factor in
All
some
right,
huge
all
way.
right. Well, you know
Definitely.
what we're gonna do? I'm gonna lay it all down here. I'm
Oh,
gonna just
no.
take over the show.
He's
Camera,
doing it.
right here. This isn't even a hot take. This is a spoiler. And I don't want to hear any. I am laying it down. This is take it to the bank. Gonna happen in the movie. Believe it. It's all about this guy right here. Come here, my little friend. Don't be afraid. Now, R2 pretty much begins the saga. He's also going to end it. It was always said, thousands of years after the events of this saga, R2 is the one telling the story. And then what happened? Wow, Luke did what? Exactly like that. So the thing is, in the trailers, this big action speeder chase, R2's not there. He's an action droid. We see BB-8, we see D-O, we even see 3PO. When did 3PO get so in on the action? Answer, never. He's always like, what's going on? We see an action figure with him with Chewie's bowcaster. What's that about? When did he go full-on action droid and R2's not even there? Why? I'll tell you exactly why. Because at some point in this movie, they're going to go to that new character, Babu Frick, who works and reprograms droids. He's going to work on 3PO to translate some kind of Sith artifact. That's right. The eyes are going to go red, and at some point, 3PO's memories are going to come back. Thanks for nothing, Jimmy Smits, but guess what? They're back. He might even wake up and say, oh, Master Anakin, and all of our hearts will break. And he sees all his friends for the last time. For whatever reason, they have to reprogram him, so they put all those memories, all the stories he's seen into R2, who's also already seen it all. Now, why don't we see R2 in those action scenes? Because after that, we've got to keep R2 safe. R2 is the respectable receptacle of everything that's ever happened in the story. The mission could fail, and if it fails, then all is lost, but not if the spark survives, the story survives. So why is R2 not in that action scene? Because they are keeping him safe. They have to keep the story safe. And if all is lost, if the day is lost, if all our heroes perish, R2 and the story survives. That is the hot take. Take it to the bank. Yeah, I just spoiled the movie. You're welcome.
Who is Snoke? Who cares?
Earlier, we gave our big Star Wars opposite of Hoth takes.
I get
Because
it.
Hoth is cold and those takes are hot.
That's
Thank
good.
you. There are hot takes, so let's dig into them. I want to know more.
Absolutely. Well, I have to put down my R2 and pick
Okay.
up my Rey for this one. Because
yes,
mine
yes,
is that Rey is a clone. I'm not typically big on the whole clone thing because I think it's a little bit of an easy out.
Okay.
But also, we're getting Palpatine back. What we know from comics and all of that is that one of the ways that he comes back in other things is by having clones of himself. I know that one of the ideas is that Rey is kind of created through Luke Skywalker's DNA. I think she was just a random person out there in the universe who was very Force sensitive. He cloned her, and there's like 1,000 of them, which is why we see in one of the trailers that there is a dark Rey, because Palpatine actually has a freaking Padawan who is Rey, who looks exactly the same as her, but she has like a dope black cape and that really weird but cool dual-edged lightsaber. And
so she's fighting herself.
so she's going to have to fight herself, which is why that mirror thing in The Last Jedi makes sense, because there's like 1 million of them, there's an army of them, and Palpatine has a ton of them.
Once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy.
Hot take, Brian.
Okay, well,
Explain.
going back, it's how does Palpatine return? We saw him get tossed down a hole, and then the Death Star exploded around him. Well, he had plans within plans within plans, secret labs all over the place, which could totally play into the clone theory.
Clone?
You know, he collected a lot of Sith artifacts, and we see this a lot in the comics and in a lot of the books and everything. He loved Sith artifacts. He turned the Jedi Temple into his own personal mansion after he kicked the Jedi out, and they had a lot of Force sensitive objects and Sith objects there that were banned. One of them was a mask that was previously owned by a Sith artist and architect named Lord Momin, who actually designed Darth Vader's castle that we see in Rogue One. We know they can't manifest as Force ghosts, the Sith, but they can possess objects. So what's an object that we see repeatedly in the trailers and in the sequel trilogy is Vader's burnt up helmet. Did old Sheev put a little bit of himself in that helmet? We know he created it. Or is there another object, another hidden Sith object that's hiding in plain sight? Or maybe it's, Yoda baby.
He's not an object. I'll give my hot take. Less of a hot take and more something that it's more of a cold, dead theory that I'm clinging to. I still think there's room for us to find out that Rey and Kylo are twins, or that they will fall in love. Or both. Because what could be more Star Wars than twins kissing?
Twins making out.
Than a little twin kiss. As the tagline says, the saga will end, the story lives forever. And I think we're now all ready, if not emotionally, we're ready mentally for episode 9.
I'm not ready.
Right?
I will never
I'm not
emotionally
ready.
be ready.
No.
Even after I've watched it, I will not have been emotionally ready.
We're never gonna get there. All right, well, let's get into some final thoughts. How do you hope the Skywalker saga ends?
Brian, I know you have thoughts about that.
I have thoughts. I'll accept whatever it is. I think we're in good hands, and I think it's going to be powerful no matter what. You guys know I'm one of the easiest marks there is when it comes to Star Wars, so I'll be crying no matter what.
Personally, I'm very specific about what I want the last
Okay.
shots to be. So I want all of the Force ghosts to gather, but they're watching Rey, Finn, Poe, Chewie, and Rose all together in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, and they, as the ghosts watch, they fly off into space on their next adventure.
So you guys want to cry. I want to see an interesting, good ending for Kylo, for Rey, for Finn. I want to see like that story paid off. And I don't want to know that the First Order fell. I want to see that there is still work to be done. That like I want to leave with a sense that this story is going to carry on. But I think we know, and you guys kind of touched on it. One of the most emotional parts of this movie is definitely going to be Carrie Fisher's appearance, whether it's throughout the film, whether we get a Force Ghost Carrie at the end. That is going to be a tearjerker of a moment.
I mean, the second that she comes on screen, I guarantee you, waterfalls. Just like it's over. No matter what she says or does, even if she comes in and says something funny, I'm just gonna start sobbing.
And it's kind of, we know it's material that was not used for Force Awakens that has been repurposed for this, but still, it doesn't matter when it was shot. It's the last time. Not only we're going to see Leia, General Leia in Star Wars, the last time we're going to see Carrie.
Well, I want to say thanks so much to Caitlin and Brian. Make sure to check them out on SYFY WIRE's podcast all about Star Wars called Jabba the Pod, wherever you get your podcasts. Okay, guys, so Mark Hamill has said that when he imagines what Carrie Fisher's doing right now, and I'm paraphrasing, she's probably looking down on them and the cast of Star Wars, not like us, and giving them the finger.
Smiling.
Lovingly. Smiling.
Yeah, lovingly
giving him the middle finger.
In the way that you want Carrie. Look, if I bumped into Carrie Fisher on the street, I'd want her to give me the finger.
Yeah,
I'd be
absolutely.
like, that's exactly what I want.
Absolutely.
So why don't we, to honor that spirit, just go ahead and give all our viewers the finger. All right, on 3, just bust out whatever your interpretation of middle finger is. 1, 2, 3.